Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be reviewing the Kamet belting leather armchair with its contemporary design, very comfortable, loads of colors. Let's dive in. The Kamet armchair has a dual shape. It's called the type of armchair upholstered in the sense that the armrests are actually integrated into the backrest. Its dimensions are rather compact for the type of chair that it is because it's 50 centimeters wide and 55 centimeters deep. Its height is 76 centimeters, which is thus slightly higher than a table. In terms of build, all these all these type of chairs and armchairs have a metal structure, and this metal structure is then covered with hide leather, belting leather. Let's try its comfort. The seat height is formally it's 47.5 centimeters, but bear in mind that the 47.5 is at the sides where it's slightly higher because you can see that it is curved, and this is meant to accommodate even better the user. As expected, with a 76 centimeters height, my higher back is not fully supported. In my opinion, it's a bit too low for my taste because I'm 185, but in general it is indeed comfortable, and also the support given by the armrest is very good. In general, all belting leather armchairs don't have much feeling, so you must never expect a belting leather chair to be soft or very welcoming in that sense. You can expect that it will be rather firm. This particular armchair is probably a bit softer than others as to its seat, because the padding there is at least a bit of flexibility given by the padding beneath the surface. Belting leather is called this way because it was used in the first industrial revolution to activate the machinery. It's that type of leather which is comprised of multiple layers of animal skin, of cow skin, and since it's multiple layers, it is very much resistant to traction, and thus it was used in that period, and this is why it got the name of belting leather. In general, it is hide leather, and you can perceive how it's worked here, because in a situation like this, you have two layers of leather, which are then joined here at the end, and with standard full grain leather or half grain leather, you can actually, since it's softer, you can actually curve it, and here you could have, for example, you could have a stitch and a rounded edge. On belting leather, you have two pieces of belting leather, which are then glued and stitched here at the end, and thus you do normally perceive this edge, this plain edge, which is normally of a darker color, like dark gray, like it could be black sometimes. In this case, it is shaded with the same color of the surface, so you don't really perceive the edge coming out from the surface. This sort of chair can be manufactured with two types of belting leather. One is let's call it the Sturdiness belting leather. It's a very high-end material, but in this case it's not only manufactured in Italy, the chair, but also the belting leather is manufactured in Italy, and you have a wealth of 48 colors. This is quite astounding because normally on comparable collections from other brands, you might find 4 colors, 8 colors, 10 colors, at the maximum maybe 25, 30 colors in other collections that we have on our portal. With this collection, you have 48 colors, and it gives you this astounding choice. And this is great because you can match, for example, the color of your armchairs or chairs to, for example, the color of a scatter cushion that you place on the sofa, and so you can actually play with colors. Then we get to full grain belting leather, sorry for my voice, and as to full grain, this is very important. With the standard belting leather, you have a completely plain surface, very smooth. It is also very resistant to scratches and very resistant to liquids. So I'm not saying that it's impossible to get it stained, but it's quite difficult. And so you can choose this material, for example, also in a frequently used dining room or in a kitchen even. And it is indeed very practical. While full grain doesn't have this very smooth and plain surface, because full grain means that the surface has not been smoothed out with specific brushes. And if I show you these samples, here we have samples of the 6 colors that are available with the full grain belting leather, and you can see that every sample is different from the other. Why this is so? Because when you manufacture a chair like this with the full grain leather, you will probably have a piece of it where the grain will be more pronounced, and it could be here or here or here, and there will be an area where the surface is smoother, and then you see all these signs, all these scratches, dents, and so on, which are not defects, they are features of the hide leather. And you know, you get a product like this if you're not against using animal leather for furniture products, so you're okay with it. And if you're okay with it, well, people normally tend to appreciate these variations, which are a sign of a precious material. Then, of course, it must be said that the belting leather version is much more expensive than the standard belting leather. I can say that pretty much the chair will double the cost from one material to the other. And also, the full grain belting leather is not as practical as the standard belting leather. So this is something you need to consider. One note about the stitches. Well, first of all, you have stitches not only on the perimeter of the seat or on the perimeter of the backrest, but you have these decorative stitches on the back. I very much like this curve and the joint here. And you have a similar look on the front, okay? And also this is a decorative stitch. And considering that you have many stitches all around it, you can choose whether you prefer a tone-on-tone stitch, and of course in the workshop the technician will choose a stitch that will match the color of the surface, or you can choose among 20 different colors to have a contrasting stitch as you see here. Well, I have expressed many positives about the Kamet armchair. I must admit that it's not the easiest chair to move around because it's very well built, and thus it's reasonably heavy, and you don't have a sort of handle or hollow armrest from which you can pick it up. But if I do pick it up, I can assess how very well built it is, because you can see this metal structure I was describing you about. You see here a part of it, the rest is hidden, and this goes to show how well built and how sturdy the armchair is. So we've come to the end of today's product review about the Kamet dining room armchair built with belting leather. I hope that you like it, and see you next time.